Welcome to the Wine Series.
Hey, ladies. I hope that you all are doing well. I wanted to drop in today to have a discussion about seeking advice from others. I think as women, it's very important that we are very careful who we're seeking advice from, who we're allowing to pour into us, because I feel that one of the worst things we can do, because I've experienced this, is accept advice or allow anyone to pour into us who isn't emotionally stable, who isn't emotionally healed. It is very important not to let someone who is unable and doesn't have the capacity to acknowledge themselves and the things that they've done in their life to try to acknowledge you about your life. I feel like as women, if we're seeking guidance and advice, it's because we want to be better. We want to do better. We feel as though, we might not be walking the right path, or we feel as though there are things that we've done wrong that we want to right, and things like that. You have to be very careful about who you're lending your ear to and who you're letting pour into you, because ladies, at the end of the day, everybody does not have your best interests at heart. And another thing is, you have to be able to recognize when there is a level of jealousy from the person who is advising you, where there is a level of animosity or a level of, man, I wish I was strong enough to make the decision she made. I was never strong enough to make that decision when I was, in my 20s or 30s or whatever. Be very careful, because a person who is not emotionally healed and is unable to acknowledge themselves and the part that they've played in the situations that they've been through in their lives, they don't have the tools to guide you. It is important to seek guidance, counsel, and advice from a woman who can give it to you from a place of logic. The way you'll know that a woman is giving you advice from a place of logic is they will not be emotionally driven. There won't be, I feel like when a woman is not emotionally healed and is giving you advice from a place of emotion, you could tell, one, by the content of what they're telling you, two, their body language, and three, if you're asking questions and they're dancing around it and not giving you a direct answer. Another thing is, if they're saying, oh, I did the best I could, or I thought I was doing the best at the time, or whatever, they're advising you from a place of regret. They're not advising you from a space of logic. They're not advising you from a place of, I've learned from my mistakes. If you're in a state where, or you're at a point in your life where you're trying to learn from mistakes, or just learn, period, you do not get advice or guidance from a woman who is living in regret. That don't make sense. That's a double negative. You will never feel empowered if you're getting advice from a woman who's providing it from a place of emotional turmoil and regret. And there are red flags for you to know that. One, married ladies, if you're getting advice, if you're married and you're getting advice from a woman who's divorced just because she's been married before, that doesn't even make sense, because she's not currently married. Come on now, let's put our thinking caps on here, okay? Secondly, if you're getting advice from a woman, and this is for the married ladies, from a woman who has been divorced multiple times and is currently married but still unhappy, what advice does she have to give you? She can't even figure out how to be happily married on marriage number 4, 5, 6, 3, 2. I don't know. No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you're getting advice or you need guidance in your life, married ladies, get it from someone who is going to give it to you from a logical place. And this is how you know it's coming from a logical place. One, she won't lead or start, or nowhere in the conversation will she say, I did the best I could. Two, she will give you real life examples that gave her real life results. You don't need advice or guidance from someone who's giving it to you from a place of, well, maybe if you try this, because it's the complete opposite of what they did, it might work. No, Just because that didn't work for that woman doesn't mean it won't work for you. You know, if somebody's giving you advice, advising you just to do the complete opposite of what they did, that means they really don't have no advice for you. That means they really cannot guide you. You know, emotion-based guidance is dangerous and it is toxic, in my opinion. I was at a place in my life where I was making a lot of emotion-based decisions. And that was the most stressed out I've ever been in my life. During that time, I didn't have peace. I didn't know what peace felt like. I was like, anxiety was through the roof. I was so busy, driven by my emotion, that I was trying to control things that I literally had no control over. And I didn't realize how it was affecting certain people in my life. But one day, the light clicked. And I was like, oh my goodness. I am literally doing more harm than I am doing good, because every decision I make at that point in my life was driven by emotion. It was driven by hurt. It was driven by me trying to control somebody because they hurt me, or me trying to control a situation because I felt like I deserved that. You know, like control is the prize. But at the end of the day, as humans and as individuals, we will only ever be able to control certain things in our life. And those are the things that we need to focus on. We don't need to focus on controlling anybody else. We don't need to focus on, caring about what somebody think about us. We need to focus on what helps us as individuals and what can help us have control of our own lives. Because the problem is, a lot of women out here don't have control over their own lives. Why? Because they don't have control over their emotions. Having control of your emotions is one of the biggest tools and weapons that you can have in this world. Because a lot of women, we're able to be taken advantage of if we're not emotionally mature, if we're not emotionally strong. People will have you out here thinking you can't do anything. You need to be dependent. You can't make a decision. Every decision that you make is wrong. But at the end of the day, nobody's living your life. Nobody's walking in your shoes. Nobody has experienced exactly the same thing down to the minute, second, everything that I have experienced in my life. There's no way, because there's only one Bree. And that goes for every woman out here. There's only one you. And if you're guilty of giving advice from a place of emotion, meaning that you don't have the woman who's seeking advice from you's best interests at heart, you need to acknowledge yourself for that and make it right. And the main way you can make it right is by forgiving yourself, acknowledging it, and not doing it again. And let me tell you something, ladies. If you're walking through this life saying, I did the best I could up till you 80, that means you're living with regret at 80. When you have fully acknowledged yourself, looked yourself in the mirror, realize the part that you've played in whatever situations you've been in your life, I did the best I could will never be an acceptable answer for you. It will never be, because that I did the best I could equals regret. That's just using multiple words to say regret. And that is not a good, nor is it a healthy way to live. You're not going to be able to walk through life with confidence if you're living with regret. You're not going to be able to make decisions in life if you're living with regret. If you are 80 years old, 50 years old, 40 years old, still trying to control things that you have no control over, you're living with regret. You're not emotionally healed. You're unable to look yourself in the mirror and acknowledge yourself. That is not a good way to live. I'm telling you, I know it because I saw myself going down that road, and I quickly had to yank myself up off that road and correct myself. And acknowledging yourself and looking yourself in the mirror is one of the hardest things to do. I've cried, I've prayed, snot, you name it, I done did it. But it's worth it. It's worth it. None of us are perfect. None of us, have all of the answers. But when you acknowledge yourself, it's freeing. It's rewarding. You don't regret any decision that you've made in life because every situation that you've been in is a learning lesson. You're confident with your children. You're confident with your spouse. You're confident at your job. And you're confident and have no problem telling your friends, your family, the neighbor, or anybody that you run into, your opinion doesn't matter to me, especially if I didn't ask for it. If you're not feeding my life, if you're not doing any of the 3 F's, and I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, feeding, effing, or financing me, I ain't got nothing for you. And you ain't got nothing for me. Your level of confidence grows so much when you're able to heal emotionally and acknowledge the part that you've played in all of the situations that you've been in your life. That is literally like, man, I'm the one living my life. I'm the only one that's ever going to live my life. And I am confident in the fact that whatever decision I make, if it turns out that it wasn't the best decision, I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to recalibrate and I'm going to make a better decision moving forward. Ladies, never take advice from a woman who's giving it from an emotional state because she's not healed. She may be jealous of you. She may be jealous of your situation. She may be living with regret. All of the things, it's not healthy for you. Do not allow someone like that to pour into your life because one bad apple shouldn't spoil the bunch, but it could. Cut off who you need to cut off. Set those boundaries. Figure out who is it appropriate for me to talk to. Look at people's lives. Look at their situations. And find out, should I be getting advice from this person? And if the answer is no, make the necessary changes. There are resources out here. There are tools out here. There's too much out here for you to be consistently getting advice or seeking clarity for someone who don't even have clarity for themselves, ladies. And that is what I have for you today. Until next time, ladies, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week, and I will be talking to y'all soon. Bye.